I believe I'm the only person to have received a commission from Sprint Corporation for a public artwork that was to be and is now in one of their largest facilities on their campus in Overland Park, Kansas, a 430,000 square foot fitness center. I was one of 6 artists who were asked to submit proposals, students' proposals. So that means command of English, command of written expression, command of being able to represent yourself through words in your physical absence. That's what I did. And so I was the one that was chosen. And what I sought to do was to create 3 triptychs, because it's a 3-level space. And each triptych was designed to challenge the pursuit of the ideal body that everybody walking through that place some way, somehow was obsessed with. And so to have a visual and graphic continuity throughout the floors, I had come up with this graphic in the center that was based on an ad that I saw for Lipitor. And so it was nobody's average. Nobody is perfect. And nobody is the same. And to my delight, this caused all manner of problems for the people who were the fitness directors and counselors at the Sprint Fitness Center. What do you mean nobody is perfect? What do you mean nobody is the same? And they actually invited me to come back. They paid me to come back to talk about the work to the employees. And that's why I do what I do. To trouble the waters enough, while at the same time being engaged with conceptual, technical, formal issues that get people to think differently about who they are and where they are. My work in progress is a body of work that seeks to address some 21st century questions I have about the portrait. Because we live in a image-driven culture where photographs are all too often disposable and forgettable, and because we live in a image culture with a racial dynamic that frames representations of African Americans and Africans in either an anthropological, advertising, or photojournalistic frame, I sought out to address the question, how could I make photographic portrait that was neither disposable nor forgettable? How could I make a photographic portrait of an African American that does not allude to either advertising, photojournalism, or anthropology at first glance? So this is a project that began in 2006 with the generous assistance of the Artists and Communities Grant from the Mid-Atlantic Arts Foundation. One of my students put it quite succinctly: it's not art unless it has an audience. And I'm gratified that I have been able to engage individuals as well as institutions in manifesting the ideas I have around the work that I do. And these are large format 4x5 negatives. And each of these images is driven by a story that the man tells me about themselves. So there's some aspect of their biography that animates the content. So these are not about the cars. These are about these men. And again, informed by the storied relationship and stereotypes around African American men who own Cadillacs. I've sought to address these questions I have about the portrait while also addressing some of these issues of representation. So that brings us to the meaning of hope. I'll start with this.
Hi, I'm on my way to the inauguration. I'm so excited. I hope to create a community-based type of NGO, non-government organization that would facilitate dialogue between the suburban kids and the kids in the inner city of Baltimore as a way to exchange information and understand each other's place in the world.
I hope to become a Dept paramedic within the next 4 years. Also want to save some lives and help out in the community.
Well, I hope within the next 4 years I hope within the next 4 years to form a coalition, a community coalition, to change the name of the White House from the White House to either the People's House or the American House. The reason being that when one goes through the archives of American history, and then the majority at the time, which were the European immigrants, the white man was considered human, and therefore entitled to actually reside in that residence. So now that we have our first minority president, I think this is the ideal time to take action towards getting the name changed.
Wasn't that good news yesterday? Or earlier in the week? That proof you can't believe what you read in the paper. That the Queen does not have cancer. So, where am I in this work? How many people went to the inauguration? Here. Okay. Was it not the coldest day in creation? I spontaneously decided that I was going to go the night before. And I got on a train out of Princeton, 7:30 that morning, and got down there, the time to see that. And I went down there with the intention of speaking to people about what they hoped to accomplish within the next 4 years, because I, for one, was a bit weary at all of the prognosticators talking about, well, Obama needs to do this, and Obama needs to do that. He needs to. I wanted to know what those people down in Washington, D.C., how many of them heard that he said it wasn't about him, that it was about all of us. And I wonder how many of them remembered, or at least knew, that what good was going to be done was going to be demanded of him. And so I wanted to find out what people planned on doing. Now, I went completely against the way I normally work. And so you see an example of a failure here that has led me to Detroit. My modus operandi as an artist is to be somewhere that other artists aren't. And especially as a photographer, I don't want to be where other cameras are. There were millions of cameras in Washington that day. And many of the people who I had seen, they had been either standing on their feet or in the mall since the day before. So by the time the helicopter sending George Bush away had passed over us, and people had dispersed to the various warming stations on the mall, there were very few people who even knew their name, much less had the facility to answer a deep question like, what do you hope to do? So, excuse me, in thinking about what I wanted to accomplish during this privileged time of holding the Elaine L. Chair here at Wayne State University, I established the fact that I wanted to extend this relationship and this process that I have around portraiture into video. And I wanted to get the citizens of the United States beyond I have a dream when they think about Martin Luther King. And I definitely wanted to do something for and with the citizens of this city.